What a bunch of dumb pitches. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to another episode of Dumb Pitches with Monica Nevi. I'm Monica Nevi, your host. This is the show where we talk to successful people about their worst ideas. And yeah, it might be a little more echoey this evening. I'm in Indianapolis. This is not where I wanted to be. Yeah, we're here to update everyone. I don't want to skip episodes anymore. And I have 7 guests lined up for the next couple weeks, so don't worry. We'll be back to hearing other people's stupid stories. If you're not into this one, that's totally fine. Skip it. Maybe you're considering the fact that you thought it was more interesting when it was just me, and it turns out it's not. It's not. Also, terrible lighting, and it's a travel day, and I look like shit. So, also, it's on. There's audio options if you just want to listen to that. Anyways, wanted to update everyone about my stomach. I know everyone is worried about it from last week. And I'm currently in Indiana, but I'm going to be performing in Louisville, Kentucky, the next 2 days, Friday, when this is out, and Saturday, at Planet of the Tapes, if you want to come. Next week, Thursday, November 3rd, Los Angeles, California, at Third Wheel Hollywood. And then Friday and Saturday, Mic Drop Comedy Club in San Diego. So look it up, monicanevi.com. Check it out. Okay. This is a good color chair. All right. Anyways, we got the results. We know what's up with my stomach. If you didn't for some reason listen last week, but you're listening to this, I've had some stomach issues leading up to my wedding. What a fun, perfect time. 3 weeks before my wedding, I started having terrible cramps, like a lot of pain in my stomach. Of course, followed by, shitting nonstop, which I thought was just a manifestation of all the stuff I talk about on stage. But actually, I thought it was stress. But then it didn't stop. And then even after the wedding, it didn't stop. And I had to, 2 weeks of this terrible situation, reach out to the doctor. They say, 2 weeks isn't enough. You have to be in terrible pain and shitting all the time for 3 weeks before we can do anything about it. So then that was my wedding. And then a couple days afterwards, it was still terrible. So I reached out again. They had me come in, had me do 9 tests, blood and other stuff. Your butt. You do tests with your butt. You guys know what that is. Which was terrible. I hated it. But eventually they come back that I have a bunch of inflammation in my intestines. Like a lot. Like that test was like, the normal standard is 0 to 120 micrograms per milligram or something. And mine was, so 120 would be the top. That's a lot. Anything over that's too much. Mine was 848. So a considerable amount of inflammation at that time, which even by then probably wasn't the worst that it was. Anyways. Then the doctor decides, I don't know what to do with this. So you have to go to a specialist. So I go to the specialist and she says, all right, so you need to have a colonoscopy, which was oddly a thing I was afraid to say on the last episode. I don't know why. Colonoscopy and an endoscopy. So the colonoscopies, they put it up your butt, right? Little camera, put it up your booty. And then an endoscopy, they put a camera through your mouth and down into your stomach. And that would see if I had Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis or some sort of cancer. So I wasn't super jacked about that, not just for the, potential results, but I don't like, as cool as I seem, I don't love sedative drugs. I think there's a control issue where it freaks me out not to have control. So I don't want to be put under an anesthetic. I've never done well with that. When I've had my wisdom teeth out and different things, I don't do well with it. So I was actually really worried about it, let alone the fact that I could have something I would have to deal with for the rest of my life, right? Which I know a lot of people, especially millennials with like Crohn's disease and stuff like that's pretty common. So I was kind of preparing myself for that. And then she said, oh, they didn't test you for C. diff, which I don't actually know what that stands for, but I knew it was a thing because there's a documentary on Netflix called Tig about Tig Notaro and her a bunch of obstacles she had gone through. And kind of the first one that happens is that she has C. diff, which is an intestinal infection that if it goes untreated, it can kind of attack your organs, which I do believe happened to her. She had to have surgery and stuff. But so when I'm talking to the doctor, she goes, I mean, that would make more sense. We could just give you, a treatment for that unless it's really bad. Instead of doing the colonoscopy, which I was like, yes, I don't want to do, which I'm not, people are like, oh, I'm so afraid to do the prep for the colonoscopy, which is basically you only drink liquids, you take laxatives, and then you shit your fucking brains out until it's empty so that they can see what's without all your shit being in there, which I know is a gross way to say it, but how else do Victoria's Secret models function? They just shit all the time, which I know is not what you want to hear about them, but that's 100% what they're up to, because bulimia is not acceptable. But if you take laxatives, that's fine. So that's what you have to do before, which didn't scare me as much, I guess, as being sedated and then having, even though they're small, which I've been told a million times, smaller than your pinky, small little cameras go into your orifices while you're asleep. It just didn't sound like my favorite thing. So I was not looking forward to that. So basically we were hoping that it was this infection, that it was this C. diff situation. And so I had really high markers for both intestinal, or one's intestinal, one's colon or something as far as inflammation goes. Anyways, the inflammation inside of this area, real high, doing, above and beyond is what the inflammation was doing. And so she said we should test for C. diff, and we did. I had 2 other blood tests that came back normal, no blood inflammation, and then the C. diff test came back positive, which is a weird thing to be excited about. But look at me. I just have some type of kind of infection. It seems like it lives in there. So this is where it comes from, usually, is antibiotics. And when we were talking the first time, I was like, I haven't taken really any antibiotics. I mean, I take my normal vitamins and medications and stuff, antidepressants, CBD, whatnot, but nothing different. And then as I'm like leaving the hospital, when we met up for coffee. That's how I do my doctor's appointments. Anyways, after the appointment, I thought, oh fuck, I had a throat infection from flying, honestly. Something got into my tonsils while I was asleep on a plane. I really do think that's what happened. And I ended up going to urgent care eventually. And it wasn't anything else. It wasn't COVID. It wasn't flu, any of that stuff. So it was a throat infection. They gave me antibiotics for that, which turns out probably gave me this C. diff situation, which started 3 weeks before my wedding. And I thought it was stress. I just thought I was very stressed about it anyways, and I felt terrible. I mean, I really felt horrible. And not in like not even in a mental way. And like physically, I just felt like I felt sick most of the time, terrible, like painful cramps in my stomach. I would cramp to the point where I would wake up and have to go to the bathroom like 5 to 7 times a night. So I wasn't sleeping well either. Mind you, leading up to the best day of my life, but also a really stressful day, mostly because I was afraid of how I was going to feel. And then, we get through this whole day, which was great. It really was a good day. And somehow my body kind of locked it up, and we didn't, I didn't shit in my dress or anything crazy. But it turned out the whole time, because I thought I was just like, if you have anxiety, sometimes you feel like it's a weakness. But then I think sometimes I get in a moment where I go, well, yeah, this is really scary, and you did it anyways. It was really painful. It was terrible. You felt bad, but you did it anyways, and you really had a fun time anyways. Like, that's something to feel good about. So I'm talking to myself through these things. But like the next 2 weeks after our wedding, which is only like a week ago, I'm still like, well, maybe it's just stress. Like, that's terrible though. What if that could happen again? I was really like sick. Like it didn't matter what I ate, anything. Like, it was terrible. And now knowing that I had this infection the whole time does make me feel a little bit differently about my body. Obviously makes me feel better about that maybe won't happen again, or like not just being my anxiety, because I do feel way better now. I don't. It's an odd thing to be excited for. You're like, oh, thank God. Oh, I have C. diff. Thank God. But I said it last episode too, that was what we were hoping for. I mean, it really was. Like, I hope it's an infection that we can, which is odd because you get it most often from taking an antibiotic, and they treat it with an antibiotic. So we'll see how that goes. I haven't started that yet, but at least we have some sort of, situation with a solution. And I don't have to do the colonoscopy. However, which leads me to the potential bad idea, maybe. I think it would be worth seeing what happens. Okay. Which, congratulations to me and my intestines and stuff, and hopefully everything goes away. And I'm on par here with Tig Notaro. I'm done with our similarities. Low energy, lesbian, stand-up comedian, married to a lady, and had C. diff. I would love to just stop there, or maybe skip some of the other things, go to the being rich part. Maybe that'd be cool. Okay, so I was scheduled for a show the day I was supposed to get the colonoscopy and endoscopy at the same time. Which, if you've never done those, which I think eventually kind of. You're supposed to, right? Just see what's going on up there. But I'm only 32 still, right? And it's a little early just to check unless something's going wrong, obviously. So I wasn't prepared for that. But they would do them at the same time, which is, I don't know how they do it. Where do they put your butt? Where are you? How are you facing? Are you on your side? Are you going up? Is there a hole in the table? I don't know. Where does your face go? Regardless, you're supposed to do them at the same time. One camera in your butt, one camera down your throat into your stomach. And you're asleep, though. You have an anesthetic, which isn't that I don't love them, obviously. I told you that already. The doctor had told me that it would be like just a really hard nap where you could still be woken up, which also freaks me out. Have you not seen every daytime television show? Or, I don't know, I stay in hotels all the goddamn time. There's all these like horror shows about waking up in the middle of surgery or whatever, botched or whatever it is. So I was worried about that because she said you could, like, if you you screamed at someone that was under this anesthetic, or you did it's called a sternal rub, where you use the back of your knuckles to rub against someone's sternum, and it hurts really bad, so it wakes them up, which I learned when I did that Narcan commercial. But she was like, yeah, if I did a sternal, and I was like, I know what that is. I didn't say that, but that's what I thought in my head. You could still wake up. So you're under, but not. Anyway, so you're under, and then they're putting cameras in all of your orifices. Not all of them, but at least 2 of the top 3. And wouldn't be. Anyways, so I had that scheduled on November 23rd, which is this year the day before Thanksgiving, which is fine. I've been jet lagged at Thanksgiving. I've been super anxious without any medical attention on Thanksgiving before. So I wasn't worried about the next day. However, I do have a show booked that evening in Everett, Washington, potentially 2 shows. And so, they said the whole process, like the actual procedure takes 30 minutes, but it's like a 2-hour thing of you getting there, getting in, getting the drugs, and then doing the procedure, and then having it wear off enough for you to get picked up, but you're still like, no, you can't drive. Somebody's got to take you, right? Your mom, your wife, or a combination of the two. That sounds like your mom and your wife are the same person. No, they're 2 different people. They both wanted to take my mother, Hot Pam, you know her, my wife, Erin, Hot Erin. They were both wanting to be involved, and so I said, you can just both ride in the car. That's what I meant. Anyways, they have to take you home. You can't drive yourself, right? There's a whole procedure. They gave me a folder of things. It was mostly about how much you're going to shit the day before and what to drink. Anyway, so then my plan was to do shows after that. So you know how there's like these weed shows, right? You do the weed show. You've seen my videos of the weed shows. You do a set sober. You smoke a little pot. You do another set. You do a set sober. You drink a little bit. You do a set. They're going to do a mushroom version of it. Do a set sober. Do some mushrooms. Maybe do mushrooms before the set sober, so they kick in. Whatever. That's the thing. What if... Which those videos are very popular. Very popular. The coming of a patient after they have had a surgery, right? Saying crazy stuff. Was it David after dentist, I would say, would be the trendsetter of the group. But I've seen, recently, whatever. Somebody's coming, you say crazy shit. So what if a bunch of comics have to get their wisdom teeth out? You do a set with your wisdom teeth. You get them removed under anesthesia, obviously. And then you do a set afterwards. That's a good show. That's a good video, if nothing else. You know what I mean? Like that's maybe... I wouldn't actually worry about the legality of it, because if you're actually having the surgery from your dentist, we're not taking extra wisdom teeth out. I couldn't do it. I already have them out, whatever. Or you do some, maybe this is a fun way to get around not having medical insurance. Some doctor donates their time to our show. Okay. They do a procedure that's needed, whether dental or some other medical procedure that necessitates, that needs anesthesia of some sort. And then when I do the dope shows or the weed shows, my second set, my high set, is very rarely any jokes. It's just talking about whatever. I do feel like this situation would allow a lot of tangential comedy, if you want to call it that, but to the point where it would not make any sense. And I want to hear that. That's what you want. Those videos are funny, hilarious. In fact, this isn't even a viral video. One of my best friends had a stomach surgery, and his mom filmed him after he had gotten it, and it is like the funniest fucking video I've ever seen. He thought he was in the Tour de France, and he wasn't doing well, which is like the funniest part of it. Like if you were having a dream about you being in the any race really, but the Tour de France, whatever, something big, and he said, I'm in the Tour de France, and he said, and I am not doing well. He said I'm like 25th, which honestly isn't that bad in that big of a race, but hilarious. And I have it from like, it's on my phone still, but it's from like older, like the video quality isn't great because it's such an old video, but so worth keeping. So I feel like this would be it would be entertaining. I don't know the logistics of it, but again, that is not what I'm here for. I'm here for ideas. If somebody could do some sort of comedy Anesthesia show, which sounds terrifying because I'm afraid to do it anyways, but afraid to do it like it's just a drug. Oh man. I don't even know. So at the time that my friend was getting this surgery, I was playing in a basketball tournament, and I think that he maybe confused, which I don't really understand it, but confused me and his grandparents in his head, right? He's all fucked up on drugs, okay? And his mom was like, oh, Grandma and Grandpa said, they hope you feel better or whatever. And he said, oh, yeah. Tell them good luck at their basketball tournament. And she was like, what? You think your grandparents are playing in a basketball tournament? And he was like, yep. Uh-huh. He goes, tell them happy ball stuff. Which is just, tell them happy ball stuff. Which I do think you should I'm going to put that on my Christmas card. Happy ball stuff, everybody. This is good. Whether it's a sport or sexual, whatever you're into, happy ball stuff, It's a beautiful sentiment, I think. But I think that's hilarious. It's just, and he's a very like, not controlling, but like wants to know a lot of information, wants to be prepared type of guy. So to have that person kind of literally not be able to control their inhibitions or really understand what's going on is funny. So to have comics, which they're all fucked up all the time anyways, not all the time, but some of them, be under some sort of anesthesia. I just don't think you could set it up, but that's not my job to think of that part. It's just to come up with the idea, just the general idea. I think we're fine. It feels good. I don't know. There's a fair chance I take all these antibiotics and it doesn't. All these antibiotics. The one for the C. diff and it doesn't help, and I still have to do the colonoscopy. So then we could do the show, maybe. We had joked about just having the colonoscopy anyways, even though I was, better potentially, just for the show. Not that we were all anesthesia, just me really would be. There's no sober set either. I'm just still on anesthesia or coming down from anesthesia after that. But I don't know. It would be, and I think it's undeniable that it would be entertaining, right? Yeah. I didn't know fentanyl was like a medical drug. That's a weird way to put it, but I feel like all the good stuff that's like crazy you get super hooked to or die from is like maybe that's why I was freaked out about the colonoscopy, but a pre-surgery drug, right? Dilaudid. I don't know if that's pre-surgery, but it's a painkiller type of thing. Dilaudid, morphine, fentanyl. those ones. You know, you gotta have health insurance to get the good drugs. Anyways, so it could be a spendy. It might be a spendy show to get all those. Anesthesiologists make a lot of money. And so I think you have to pay them money to do their jobs. I gotta find an anesthesiologist that just loves comedy. Fucking love comedy, man. I'll put you under. Oh, man. All right. So it's pretty good news. Kind of good news. Special's doing well. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't watched, please watch it now. If you have, go ahead and watch it again. I'm in an Airbnb. I just put it on the TV again while I walked to 2 gas stations that weren't open. Anyway, I appreciate everyone who's watched it. Thank you so much. Keep sharing it and all that stuff. It's great. I'm in Louisville this weekend, Los Angeles, San Diego, Portland, New York, Moscow, Idaho, Indianapolis again, Medford, Oregon. There's a lot of good dates. Go on my website, monicanevi.com. Follow me at Monica Nevi if you don't. I don't know why you would listen to this and not, but maybe you're just hopping in. Welcome. There's also at Dumb Pitches. Instagram, just Instagram, if you'd like to follow and stay up with what guests we have and some clips and whatnot. That's always fun. And yeah, and you can subscribe to YouTube, of course, and all the podcast apps if you're listening. And we have YouTube memberships, so you get special behind the scenes episodes, which I just put a new one up with Andrew Slater, which is great. It's hard to hear, but it is really insane ideas. We'll have him on again. And some other, maybe I'll put up the video of my friend after his surgery. So you can see happy ball stuff. Happy ball stuff. Yeah, but you're fantastic. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry about how it looks and all that stuff, but I think we'll be okay. And happy ball stuff to you and yours. And right now you can just keep watching Dumb Pitches.
You're weird.
Yes.